I think there needs to be an investigation as to why they didn't draft a quarterback. How you don't draft a Shedeur Sanders? How you don't do that, knowing how debilitated you are at the quarterback position, spanning years? I'm not saying you didn't draft a quarterback at all. I know they drafted a quarterback, but I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders. I'm talking about somebody early in the first two rounds.
Here's what I can tell you about the draft. If he would have fallen to the 7th round,
right,
the Steelers weren't drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Why?
Shedeur Sanders was not going to be picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whatever the evaluation was, whatever decision was made, he was not going to be the quarterback picked, drafted, called by Mike Tomlin.
Because of talent, or because the hoopla they felt like that came with it?
That's breaking news.
That was not going to
That's
happen.
breaking news, and here's why.
Mike, what was y'all's evaluation of Shedeur in the spring, and sort of how have you seen him develop in the last couple of...
It does not matter. He's not a Pittsburgh Steeler. He plays for the Cleveland Browns. I'll let the Cleveland Browns talk about his evaluation.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have to talk about something that has the entire NFL world buzzing right now. Shedeur Sanders just went out there and got a massive win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the irony of this whole situation is just too good to ignore. This is the same Pittsburgh Steelers organization that passed on him in the draft. This is the same team that had every opportunity to secure their quarterback of the future, and they said, no thank you. Now they are watching him ball out against them on their own field. You cannot make this stuff up. This is one of those moments where you sit back and you just appreciate the poetic justice that the NFL delivers sometimes. Before we get deep into this breakdown, I need you to understand something. This is not just about one game. This is about vindication. This is about a young man who was doubted and criticized and overlooked, proving that he belongs on this stage. So if you are ready to dive into this story and understand why this game means so much more than just a win or a loss, then stick with me, because we are about to break it all down. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do me a quick favor. If you are enjoying this content and you want to see more breakdowns like this, then go ahead and smash that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. We are building something special here, and I appreciate every single one of you who supports this channel. Now, let us get into it.
Pride in the division going on here.
I want to see improvement with Shedeur, too. I mean, see a little improvement from Shedeur today, Coach, huh?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, man, those rookies leading everything. That's why they won 3 games. This team ain't going to be close this game. Aaron Rodgers, I'm fascinated by that. I love seeing it. I mean, let's say what it is, right? When you look at it, it's all about Myles Garrett, all right, getting the sack. But that is fascinating by Aaron Rodgers, that your clip. And what it showed is he actually was in protection, okay? And then he says, hey, look, they're just playing, they're showing too high, which shows either 2-man or 1 hole, which it ends up being. And then he motions him out, runs the route for him, tells him where to go. Like, it was crazy. That guy was in protection. I don't know if the fans know that. He was literally in the protection, and then he puts him to where he wants him.
Told him how to motion.
That is the beauty of having a quarterback as smart as Aaron Rodgers.
So let us start with the Pittsburgh Steelers and their decision-making process during the draft. This is a team that has been struggling at the quarterback position for years. I'm not exaggerating when I say years. Ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired, this organization has been searching for answers at the most important position in football. They have tried different options. They have brought in veterans. They have tried to patch things together, but they have not committed to drafting a franchise quarterback early in the draft until now. And even now, they did not go with Shedeur Sanders. Reports came out that even if Shedeur Sanders had fallen all the way to the 7th round, the Pittsburgh Steelers were not going to draft him. Let that sink in for a moment. A team that desperately needs a quarterback for the future was not going to take one of the most talented quarterbacks in the draft class, regardless of where he fell. That is not a football decision at that point. That is something else entirely. Whether it was the evaluation process or whether it was concerns about the attention that comes with being Coach Prime's son, we may never know the full story. But what we do know is that the Steelers made a conscious decision to pass on Shedeur Sanders multiple times. Mike Tomlin was asked about Shedeur, and his response was telling. He basically said that Shedeur is not a Pittsburgh Steeler, and that he plays for the Cleveland Browns now, so he will let Cleveland talk about his development. That That is a very diplomatic answer, but it also tells you everything you need to know. There was a decision made at some point that Shedeur Sanders was not the guy for Pittsburgh. Whatever the reasoning was behind that decision, it was made. And now they have to live with the consequences.
Yeah, make sure he can get it done. So I'll probably just be, just watching it and get some rest.
The conversation with, I heard Snoop called you before the game. Just,
I called him.
But just
I think, I don't know. I gotta check my phone, but I think I had like a missed call from him, and then or a text something. I don't know. Then I just called my old go like 6:30. Called him. I'm like, dang, bro, why are you still up? And he was like, bro, I'm excited, bro.
And the consequences showed up on game day. Shedeur Sanders came out there and played with a chip on his shoulder. You could see it in his body language. You could see it in the way he commanded the offense. This was not just another game for him. This was personal. And when athletes play with that kind of motivation, they become dangerous. Shedeur showed exactly why he was considered one of the top quarterback prospects in this draft class. He made plays with his arm. He extended plays with his legs. He showed poise in the pocket. He delivered the ball to his receivers with accuracy and timing.
Well, so far this season, the Browns have 49 sacks, and 22 of them belong to Myles Garrett. Last week, the Bills held Garrett to just half a sack, so now he only needs one more QB takedown to break TJ Watt and Michael Strahan's single-season sack record.
Now, I want to be fair and balanced here because that is what we do on this channel. Shedeur did throw an interception in this game that was not great. It was a decision that he would probably want back if he could have it. But here's the thing about young quarterbacks. They're going to make mistakes. That is part of the development process. The key is how they respond to those mistakes and whether they continue to make the same errors over time. One bad throw does not define a player. What defines a player is their ability to learn and grow and bounce back, and Shedeur has shown that ability throughout his young career. Let's talk about Rex Ryan for a moment, because this man has been saying some wild things about Shedeur Sanders over the past few weeks. Before the Buffalo Bills game, Rex Ryan said he wanted to see if Shedeur would actually chase down a defender and make a tackle if he threw an interception. That is a strange thing to focus on when evaluating a young quarterback, but that is what Rex Ryan chose to highlight. And this week, he doubled down with more dismissive comments about Shedeur and the Cleveland Browns. Rex Ryan looked at the Browns and basically said they have only won 3 games and that they are not going to be competitive in their matchup. He was more fascinated by Aaron Rodgers and the other side of things. But here's what Rex Ryan and so many other analysts are missing. The Cleveland Browns are building something with this young roster. Shedeur Sanders is just getting started. He has only been with the first team for about 3 weeks now. He is still learning the offense. He is still building chemistry with his receivers. He is still adjusting to the speed and complexity of the NFL. And despite all of that, he is already showing flashes of what he can become. This is what drives me crazy about the way some of these analysts evaluate young players. They expect immediate perfection. They expect a rookie quarterback to come in and perform like a 10-year veteran from day one. That is not how this works. That is not how any of this works. Even the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history had growing pains during their first season. Tom Brady was not Tom Brady in year 1. Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith and learned the system before he became the player he is today. Development takes time, and Shedeur deserves that time to develop.
Of Myles competing against San Francisco, and Francisco helped him. And that just lets you know the significance of what's going on with Myles Garrett. We're going to do all the things that teams, I'd imagine the vast majority of those are against the very schematic concepts that we're going to choose to deploy to help.
One of the most heartwarming stories to come out of this game was the connection between Shedeur Sanders and Lamar Jackson. Lamar apparently called Shedeur before the game to give him words of encouragement. He told him to go out there and handle business because a Browns win would help keep the Ravens' playoff hopes alive. But it was not just about the playoff implications. Shedeur said that Lamar has been speaking life into him and giving him encouragement throughout this process. That is what real ones do. That is what veterans who understand the journey do for young players coming up behind them. Shedeur talked about how he and Lamar connected during training camp. He said they just clicked because they both have positive energy, and they both are always smiling. They had conversations about faith and purpose and why Lamar felt like he was sent to encourage Shedeur during this time. That is bigger than football right there. That is about mentorship and brotherhood and building each other up in a league that can be incredibly lonely and difficult for young players. Lamar told Shedeur to be ready, and when his opportunity came, Shedeur was ready. That is the testament to his preparation and his mindset. He wasn't pouting on the sidelines because he was not the starter initially. He wasn't causing drama or demanding a trade. He was putting in the work behind the scenes and waiting for his moment. And when that moment arrived, he seized it. Now let's talk about what this game meant in the bigger picture. The Pittsburgh Steelers came into this season with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. They went with the veteran option instead of investing in the future. And look, there is nothing wrong with that strategy if you are trying to win right now. But the problem is, you still need to think about what comes next. Aaron Rodgers is not going to play forever. At some point, you need to have a plan for the future. And the Steelers passed on that opportunity when they passed on Shedeur Sanders. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns are building for the future. They have a young quarterback who is showing promise. They have a roster with young talent that can grow together. Yes, they have only won a few games this season, but that's not the point. The point is the trajectory. The point is where this team can be in 2 or 3 years if they continue to develop their young players the right way. Shedeur Sanders could be the cornerstone of that future if he continues on this path. I also want to address something that has bothered me about the coverage of Shedeur Sanders throughout this process. There was a smear campaign leading up to the draft. Teams were leaking negative information about him. There were concerns raised about his arm strength and his decision-making and the attention that comes with being Coach Prime's son. Some of that was legitimate evaluation, and some of that was clearly agenda-driven. The Giants and their coaching staff were particularly aggressive in their criticism of Shedeur, and we have seen how that organization has performed this season, so maybe they should have focused more on their own issues. The reality is that Shedeur Sanders was viewed by many as a potential first-round pick before all of the negative press started circulating. There was a genuine debate about whether he or Cam Ward would be the first quarterback taken in the draft. That conversation was happening in legitimate NFL circles. So the idea that Shedeur was somehow this flawed prospect who deserved to fall as far as he did doesn't hold up when you look at the actual tape and the actual production. I also want to give credit to the Browns coaching staff for putting Shedeur in position to succeed. They have not asked him to do too much too soon. They have given him a manageable game plan while still allowing him to make plays. That is smart coaching. That is how you develop a young quarterback without destroying his confidence. Too many organizations throw their rookie quarterbacks to the wolves and then wonder why they struggle. Cleveland has been more measured in their approach, and it is paying dividends. Looking ahead, Shedeur Sanders and the Browns have the Cincinnati Bengals left on the schedule. That's going to be a tough test. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and the Bengals' offense can put up points in a hurry. But this is another opportunity for Shedeur to prove himself against quality competition. Every game from here on out is an audition for the starting job next season. And based on what we have seen so far, Shedeur is making a strong case for himself. The main thing for Shedeur moving forward